the baseline notion here is that in corporate America, in entertainment culture, they hate your guts. They hate you. And so here's the thing. If you're a conservative, you need to actually fight back. As I say, renormalization is where 20% of a company can renormalize the other 80% and orient them toward their perceived political goals. The same thing is true in markets. People on the left will look at a product or a company they don't like, and then they will announce that they're boycotting that company or product. And then the company will just cave. Conservatives, particularly on issues like this, are a majority of about sexual indoctrination of children. They're the vast majority of the population. That's not just conservatives. That's conservatives, moderates, and many Democrats. And so here is the thing. You need to fight back. Well, one of the ways we here at the Daily Wire are fighting back is that we have decided that if a company decides to go to war openly with the people who we defend every day, conservatives and moderates and parents, if they decide they're going to do that, then we will go into direct competition with those businesses. So let me give you an example. About a year ago, there was a company called Harry's Razor. And Harry's Razor is a razor company, as their name would suggest. They make a good product. They advertised on this show at one time, and they were also advertising on my colleague Michael Knowles' show. And Michael made the grave mistake of announcing that men are men and women are women. And this, of course, is very bad because Harry's, which is a company that, again, sells razors so men can shave their faces, got 2 tweets, like 2. They got 1 tweet from a 2-follower Twitter account. Okay, and this guy literally had 2 followers. And he said, quote, Harry's is sponsoring Michael Knowles, the same Michael Knowles who is spreading homophobic and transphobic content. It is wrong that Harry's or anyone sponsors this vile content. Harry's immediately pulled their advertising. They said, quote, thanks for bringing this up. We condemn the views in this video, which are inexcusable and at odds with our longtime support of the LGBTQ plus community. We've ended our relationship with this show and are looking into our sponsorships to prevent any values misalignment going forward. And this is what Harry said. So they pulled their money from Michael's show because he said men are men and women are women. And so we have decided that we are going to create our own razor company. Because again, we want you to take your money away from woke corporations and give it to non-woke corporations that don't spit in your eye. So we have a website. It's called IHateHarrys.com. And we have launched our own razor brand. It's called Jeremy's Razors. Here's a little bit of the commercial.
Do you remember when there were 2 genders and only 1.5 of them had to shave their mustaches? Oh, hi. I'm Jeremy Boring, CEO and God King of the Daily Wire. Harry's Razors used to advertise on our shows. They're a great product, and we were happy to do it. That's before some peon who works for me went and said that boys are boys and girls are girls, and that was just too much for Harry's. They condemned our views held by millions of Americans and virtually every human who's walked the planet until about 15 minutes ago, as inexcusable. And they dropped their ads from our network because of what they called values misalignment. You're damn right our values are misaligned. And it's not just Harry's either. Gillette razors used to be the best a man could get. Then they decided that men are too toxic. Unless you're the kind of man who teaches his daughter to shave her beard. If that makes sense to you, keep buying Gillette. But if you've had enough of the woke bullshit and you're tired of paying companies like Harry's and Gillette to hate you, then buy my new razor instead.
Okay, so we have launched an actual razor company. Sure, it's a joke, but it's not a joke because you can actually get these razors from anywhere. So yeah, I mean, I pitch a lot of products on this program, but here is the thing. When you buy the Jeremy's Razors, right? When you buy the Jeremy's Razors, then what you will be getting is a product that does not hate your guts. The product's actually really good. But the most important thing is that people on the right have to stop sort of complaining about the fact that corporate America is being taken over, and they have to start creating companies to rival the bad companies. They have to start taking their money and putting it where their mouth is, because otherwise all of these other companies, the Disneys of the world, they are going to be held hostage by these small groups of radicals who are then going to renormalize those companies and use them as weapons against you and your family. That is what is happening right here. And it is scary and it is very, very bad. And so, listen, I'd love to make money off of more Americans taking their money away from places like Gillette, which did in fact make a commercial talking about toxic masculinity and the evils of masculinity, and made a commercial about men teaching their transgender sons, meaning girls, to shave their faces and how tolerant this makes them. I would love to make money off of people who no longer want to patronize those companies. Listen, I like money. Money's great. But the more important thing here is that all of these companies have to be put on notice that if they piss off the American people are not going to stand for it. Renormalization works both ways. And if the American people do not wish to see major American brands that are directed at teaching their kids like Disney move to the left, they're going to have to explicitly say no at a certain point here. And they're going to have to ignore the predations of the media. Now, all of these companies are driven by media coverage. So there's an article in the Washington Post today, for example, called "Activists Face an Avalanche of Anti-Transgender Bills." And the entire article is about how evil it is that there are people who are trying to say that boys should go to boys' bathrooms and girls should go to girls' bathrooms, and that puberty blockers should not be prescribed for kids who are 8, 9, and 10 years old. And the entire article is about how bad that is. But you know what? Conservatives should say, yes, those things are bad. It is bad to do those things to children. And we are not going to pretend that it is good to do those things to children. And we are not going to stand for corporate America catering to its wokest audience by interjecting itself in these battles. You want to play this game? The game works both ways. You want to remove the All-Star game from Georgia because you don't like a voter ID law that is less stringent than Delaware's? Fine. Then a lot of people are not going to watch MLB games. You want to inject yourself into LGBTQ politics in Florida or Texas? Well, fine. We're not going to watch Lightyear. Right? I mean, this is going to have to be what people do. And so we're hoping that Jeremy's Razors is the first step in that direction. You can subscribe again over at IHateHarrys.com. That's IHateHarrys.com. You get your razors from a company that doesn't hate you. And by the way, if you want entertainment that's going to cater to your children, we're going to start making kids content over here at Daily Wire specifically so that you don't have to be catered to by companies that hate your guts and cater to the people who despise your values. If that doesn't happen, the bad guys are going to continue to win, and they're going to continue to take over heretofore neutral corporations and use them as weapons against you. I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben Shapiro videos. Well, you are right. You should. But first, like and subscribe. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.